Hello everyone, how's it going? Well, I'm finally back with another T.T.M video. I know it's been probably 6 months or so. So all the returns I'm going to show you guys today are from at least 6 months ago. I do have some newer ones from the last month or so, but I'm going to save those until I get caught up. So let's get started here. So today I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 I'm going to show you. So let's get started. So first one took 27 days, and the person signed 3 of 3, and that person would be Mr. Ben Coates. Now, Mr. Ben Coates went to Livingston College. He was drafted in the 5th round by the New England Patriots. He once held the record for the most receptions by a tight end with 96, but that has since been broken by Tony Gonzalez. For his career, Mr. Coates had 499 receptions. Yep, one shy of 500 for 5,555 yards. 5,555. And he also had 50 TDs. He was a 5-time Pro Bowler, 2-time first team All-Pro. And this is Mr. Ben Coates, and he signed 3 of 3 for me. There's 1. There's 2. I'll set this one down. Here's the 3rd one. He was a heck of a tight end back in the day. Him and Drew Bledsoe and Bill Parcells. What a team. So the next one took 9 days, and the person signed 3 of 4 for me. And that person would be Mr. Jim Jensen. I think he kept the 4th one. I'm pretty sure he kept the 4th one. So, Mr. Jim Jensen. He attended Boston University. He was drafted in the 11th round by the Miami Dolphins. For his career, he had 229 receptions for 2,171 yards and 19 TDs. He also had 102 yards passing and 2 TDs. Now, Mr. Jim Jensen, I would equate him to one T.T.M Hill, who plays for the Saints. T.T.M Hill does the same thing for the Saints. He kind of is the jack of all trades, plays special teams like Mr. Jim Jensen did, plays quarterback like Mr. Jim Jensen did, and he'll rush the football. And I think Mr. Jim Jensen rushed the football a few times in his career. So this is Mr. Jim Jensen. We'll put him right here. We'll set these off to the side for now. So the next one took 17 days, and I got 5 of 5 back. And let's see who this is. This is Mr. Mark Collins. There's 1. Oh, it's upside down. There's 2. Beautiful autograph on Mr. Collins. There's 3. Set this down here. There's 4. I love this photo. We'll set that in front of the one there. And here's the final one. So, Mr. Mark Collins. Well, he attended Cal State Fullerton. He was drafted in the 2nd round by the Giants. For his career, he had 27 interceptions, 8 sacks, and 2 TDs. He was also a 2-time Super Bowl champ. And this is, as I would say, should say, is Mr. Mark Collins. So the next one took 13 days, and the person signed 4 of 4 for me, and that person would be Mr. I want to say Rad, John Rad, or Raid. Rad? I think it's Rad. There's 1. There's 2. We'll put this one right here. There's 3. That one right there. There's 4. So, Mr. John Rad, or Raid, I think it's Rad, attended Boise State. He was drafted in the 8th round by the Atlanta Falcons. For his career, he had 3 interceptions, 10.5 sacks, and 2 TDs. And that is Mr. John Rad, or Raid? Rad. So the next one took 73 days, and the person signed 3 of 3 for me. And that person would be Mr. Juan Gonzalez. There's one. Let's see if we can set him up here. There's 2. Set that over here if we can get it to stand up. Here's a 3rd one. So, Mr. Juan Gonzalez played 16 years. For his career, he was a .295 career hitter, had 434 home runs, 1,404 RBIs. He was a 3-time All-Star, 2-time AL MVP, 6-time Silver Slugger Award winner. In 1998, he had 100 RBIs before the All-Star game, and that's only happened once before in Major League history. He also played in the Atlantic League in 2006 for the Long Island Ducks. And the reason I bring that up is our local team, the Lancaster Barnstormers, also play in the Atlantic League. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see Juan play when he was in the Atlantic League and he came to Lancaster, so I guess that's my bad. So this is Mr. Juan Gonzalez, who would be in the Hall of Fame right now if it wasn't for a little incident with the steroids. He got caught up in that little scandal. So, last but not least, took 8 days, and the person signed 4 of 4 for me. And that would be Mr. Oops, dropped him. Mr. Jim Mora. Now, I like what Jim Mora did. He actually, instead of taking a black Sharpie and signing on a black background, he actually used a silver Sharpie, which looks fantastic. So he signed 1, 2, 3, and 4 for me. So, a little bit about Mr. Jim Mora. So Jim Mora, he actually coached the Philadelphia/Baltimore Stars, the Saints, the New Orleans Saints, and the Baltimore Colts. His regular season record in the USFL was 41 wins, 12 losses, and 1 tie. For the NFL, he had 125 wins and 106 losses. For his postseason career, he was 0-6 in the NFL, and in the USFL, he was 7-1. So if you combine the two, the USFL and the NFL, he had 173 wins, 125 losses, and 1 tie. He was also, when he was in the USFL, he won 2 USFL championships. So, when Mr. Jim Mora was a youth, he was an Eagle Scout. And the reason why I bring that up is because only 4% of Boy Scouts ever obtain Eagle Scout status, which is pretty amazing. And also, another tidbit, he was a college roommate of Jack Kemp, who was a former All-Pro quarterback and congressman. So, that's all I have for today. I want to thank Mr. Jim Jensen, Mr. Juan Gonzalez, Mr. Ben Coates, Mr. Mark Collins, Mr. Jim Mora, and Mr. John Raid for signing these cards, and getting them back to me. And I want to thank you guys for watching. Just remember, keep collecting, keep searching for those hidden gems, and keep having fun. Later.